Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and I know it's been a while since I've done any videos for World of Warships, so I'd say I'm sorry, but really it's, whatever, it just happens. I had a lot of things going on as far as work is concerned, and really bad sleeping habits that had, it basically just screwed me over with a lot of different things, unfortunately. So essentially what was happening was I'd say wake up at 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon and go to work immediately after I wake up, come back home and try to get some work done. I couldn't focus on anything. I'd fall asleep for an hour or two, and then I would be up from say 4 or 5 in the morning or 7 or 9 in the morning until like noon or something like that, then go back to sleep. And basically what was happening was my not only did everything get offset considerably in terms of what I would normally do, but I a few times I would just essentially have 2 days for every one day. Yeah, it's pretty shitty. So I'm taking steps to address that now, and things seem to be regulating pretty well. But I also just wanted to say thank you for getting me to the 1 year mark with Twitch. So yeah, that's pretty badass. And the amazing part is, you know, I mean, my channel has been doing just fine and all that. Like I don't really have any real expectations for it, I suppose. But it just for doing this for a year and not having a schedule at all, and having the response to it, and the people that keep coming back over and over again, is actually pretty damn amazing to me. So you guys have humbled the ever-living shit out of me with your generosity and your continued support, just by showing up, or donations, or whatever the hell, however you guys choose to show it. And I sincerely appreciate it, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And yeah, aside from that, I in the mix, thrown into the mix of all that, I was testing the German DDs and still have apparently a bit more to do. I can't talk anything about it, don't ask, and non-disclosure agreement and all that shit. But yeah, that's something that kind of took up some of the time as well, and I've been all over the place last few weeks. So yeah, been trying to get into some more of the kind of a rhythm of things, but the problem is I can't stream during the day at all. Last week, this week for sure, maybe not next week either. It just kind of depends. I will be streaming on Christmas, and that should be pretty fun, but I suspect it'll be a bit of a varied stream. And by that I mean actually, if we go back to the start of the stream and how many different games I've played on it, I mean, holy shit, it's been like 24 different games. Everything from like betas like Steep from Ubisoft, which was terrible, For Honor, which I would love to play more, but the audio bugs were just driving me up the fucking wall. There's like a crackling going on and like this constant buzzing. It just completely ruined the ability. Like I had to take the headphones off and put them down because I just could not stand the issues with the audio. Steep had the same exact issue actually, which is really disconcerting. So there is another technical test coming up For Honor, but unfortunately I'll have to sign an NDA for that, so I won't be able to stream anything, or basically do anything about it. So I'm not sure why, because you could with the previous test, and I'm not sure if that's just because there was a bit of a backlash to it or something. I thought it was a really interesting game. There's a lot of potential there, and I'm looking forward to trying it out, hopefully sans the audio issues. Aside from that, I've played Armored Warfare, Rocket League, Diablo 3. I've played, obviously, World of Warships, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, The Division, Batman Arkham Knight. I mean, holy crap, there's been a lot of different games, and I just do it to have fun, because I really enjoy being able to interact with you guys in a live situation, because there's so many awesome moments that have happened live that everybody in the chat's like, holy shit, that was nuts, and I'm like, holy shit, that was nuts. And it just makes it a lot more entertaining, and there's something special about it being live. And then there's also stuff that's, I like having games off stream that turn out to be really good and nobody knows anything about it, and then I drop it onto you in YouTube, and that's really fun too. And the good thing is, between the two, I'm kind of doing the same thing but a different approach, with the fact that with YouTube, I'm able to take my time and have my head out of the game and discuss any given game that I'm covering. And then when I'm streaming, I'm obviously neck deep in it, and I can barely pay attention to the chat sometimes, especially if I'm playing the Destroyer. That is just so... it's all consuming when it comes to my attention. So, yeah, forgive me if I don't respond to your messages while I'm playing Destroyer. There's just no real option for me there. I gotta, ride that knife's edge of surviving or dying, and the slightest mistake can have a torpedo end up right in my face, and that's just no good for anybody. But yeah, anyways, thank you all so very much again. I really appreciate it with the growth with the YouTube channel, surpassing 6,500 subscribers, or getting about that point right now, and also having about 1,700 followers on Twitch. It's a lot of fun, and I like being able to provide some different options for you guys as far as how you view things. But anyways, moving on, plenty of other stuff to talk about here. The Japanese destroyers. Anybody else like completely disinterested in that line all of a sudden? I don't think they handled it very well. I would have preferred to have some sort of, I don't know, like a sea hull option, like the way that the Mayhan, the Benson, they change considerably when you switch over to the sea hull, because all of a sudden it's more of a utility ship as far as being able to provide defensive fire, and you lose the turret. Maybe that's something that could have been done for the Japanese destroyers. Provide a sea hull that's more of a gunboat option. And the thing is, they're not even, like, a few of them are actual gunboats, but the rest are, they're still torpedo boats? I don't know. I don't get it. And the whole restructuring, I think, is just kind of dumb. I just wasn't interested in participating with that as far as super testing was concerned, and let alone anything else. I think I'm totally done with that line. And the thing is, I had the Matsuki review, the overview for that, actually ready to go, and then they announced that they were going to change everything with it. I had that ready months ago, and they're like, yeah, we're going to completely mess up the line here, so yay, have fun. And that was disappointing. So I was playing the Hatsu a bit, and I hated that damn shit. But the Matsuki, I actually started to get the hang of towards the end of my playtime with it. I still have it, but it's just one of those ships. Like even the Minakaze now, I don't want to play it. It's a shadow of its former self, and I don't have the Fujin, I don't have the Kamikaze R, and they're unaffected. So, but yeah, now what? I certainly recommend buying those damn ships as soon as they come up. Which, by the way, I would definitely expect for Christmas the Belfast to go on sale, possibly the Nikolai as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a one-day sale for that, just because it's just one of those ships that people love to talk about, like, oh yeah, if it comes back on sale, I got to buy it. Yeah. Well, you better buy it, because I'm guessing there's going to be a bit of a surprise, because other than that, I mean, what else would you expect to see for Christmas, And I did want to say, all of these are user replays that you're watching. Please stop sending me your user replays. I don't have the time to watch them. I'm just throwing this together because I don't have any footage to be able to throw into a Ships and Giggles video, and I've had this sitting in my project list for months now. What you're watching here, this specific match, is Jason, my friend Jason, who now goes by the name Pizza Ron, and this was all the way back in May. This is how long I keep this shit. So, if you're wondering why you haven't seen your stuff or whatever, which I'm not obligated in any way, shape, or form to post anybody's videos, this is typically why. I actually started having a lot of trouble getting around to discussing people's play, because I had a few people throw that shit back in my face afterwards. Not naming names, of course, but they're like, you were really harsh, blah blah blah. I'm still trying to learn the game. Well, then don't send me your goddamn replay. And I can't be anything but honest about it. And I'm not gonna pull any punches. If you fuck up, you fuck up. And I do the same thing for myself. It's nothing more or less than that, and that's okay. But I don't know, some weird expectations, like I'm gonna fawn all over somebody just because they had 300,000 damage in the Yamato. It was like, boring match and plenty of mistakes that were made. I don't care about damage. I never have. It's not the important factor. It's about what you're able to contribute to the team. As far as the getting caps, defending caps, taking out destroyers, hitting the right targets at the right time. There's so many other ways to play other than just farming damage. Damage is boring as shit to me. It just, like, there are moments where, yeah, it's awesome, of course, but I'm more concerned about the technical aspect, the tactical, the on-the-fly adaptations to a changing situation. That's more interesting to me, to see how a player can respond to a dangerous situation that maybe they didn't expect, and to see if they can excel in that situation. That's a hell of a lot more interesting to me than, oh look, I did 85,000 damage salvo to an enemy Montana. Oh, like, cool, that's great. Now can you do that over and over again? Because I bet you can. And I don't know, damage is just whatever. And especially in the battleship, your skill is just secondary to what RNG is going to allow you to do. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of frustrating, but I just don't want to do the user replays, at least for the time being. I'm thinking of starting to pick up maybe some of the replays that are on wowsreplays.com, that replay site, and maybe just that random pick a few so people don't have any expectations, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a video on how somebody played, and that would be cool, I guess, but that won't be happening for a while. As far as upcoming videos, I do have the Belfast overview that I'm working on currently. I would hope to have that done by the end of this week. I definitely want to get that done before Christmas week. And also, I've been talking about it for a little while and trying to figure out how I want to do this in my head, but essentially I'm going to kind of do an overhaul on battleship overviews, and I'm going to do it tier by tier and with all the available battleships at a given tier. So I haven't really covered like the German battleships all that much, really just the Gneisenau, Scharnhorst, and also the Bismarck, and that's it. But when it comes to the low tier stuff, I haven't covered that at all. I mean, the Ishizuchi is actually, the Ishizuchi and the Nikolai are the only battleships under tier 6 that I've covered. And for new players, I want to, or people who are playing destroyer and cruiser lines who haven't switched over to battleships yet or haven't tried them really all that much, I want to give a comprehensive overview of everything that's available to them. So I think that would be a good way to do it, be able to compare everything, and that includes the premium ships. The only thing I'm truly concerned about is, one, how I can present that, and then two, the runtime. Because if these are like hour-long videos, it's just not going to work. I still want to get it in the 25-minute or less format. And I say normally it's 20 minutes or less, but 25 minutes or less in this situation I think would be certainly more applicable, and I'd be able to discuss the things that I need to discuss for a given ship. But I would like to start at tier 3 and work my way all the way up, because I will buy back all the other battleships that I don't have. I think the only ones I don't have right now are the Izumo and the Kurfürst. I think that's actually it. I'm pretty sure I have everything else. And yes, I've been playing the Myogi lately. I've actually been doing just fine with it, so, which is certainly a surprise. So with 1 year anniversary is concerned with streaming, I get to kind of think back to how much the game has changed in that period of time, and I find it fascinating because power creep is a considerable issue. I mean, you look at the split for the Japanese line, I think that's exactly why they did it, because they didn't really have much of a place in the game, and you can argue that they I think there's an argument both ways that they do and they don't, even now after the split. But I know the Yagumo is a very, very, very popular ship, but maybe eventually I'll have to try it out. But you know, you run into a problem with how do you introduce a new line that differentiates itself from something that came before. And like, say the Italian battleships, for instance, like what are they going to be? You know, what's their specialty going to be? What's the British cruiser, or I'm sorry, the British battleship specialty going to be? And that sort of thing. It makes you wonder just how much more is going on behind the scenes, you know, what they've modeled and so on and so forth. I would love to see the Italian battleships because they're sexy as hell, but you know, the British battleships, I think, I'm hoping they come up next after the German destroyer line, because I mean, that one is interesting enough as it is, and again, I can't say anything else about it, unfortunately. But actually, I can't really say anything at all, even if we're discussing stuff that is in an official post. I don't know what I can and can't do anymore. Like, it kind of sucks, but you know, in some respects it seems like I should be able to talk about this or that, and then others I'm like, I really just shouldn't talk about it at all. But you know, being a super tester has its benefits and it certainly has its drawbacks. And no, before you ask, I'm definitely not going to be one of those super testers that ends up with the Alabama. So I don't contribute anywhere near enough to be able to justify getting something like that, and I'm not sure if I ever will, to be honest with you, just because I don't make it to the meetings and things like that. I've never actually been into the super tester team speak, which it's a little embarrassing to admit it, but you know, it's true. So it's just one of those things where I just don't have the time to do it. I could participate in my own way, but I can't participate fully, so kind of sucks. But oh, and I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to open up an EU Warships account. One thing that's always fascinated me is YouTube analytics and just how many people are watching from Europe or the Scandinavian countries or freaking Africa, Australia, so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of people all around the world that, you know, watch videos on warships, and it's really interesting to me. And of course, Germany, the UK, and you know, the States are going to be the highest ones. I think there's only like a 6% difference between the first and third there. So I forgot the arrangement. I think Germany is actually the second. Yeah, I think it's the second highest viewership, and the UK is like 0.2% lower than that, which is fascinating to me. But anyways, you know, people from Norway and like Lithuania and the Balkan region. I mean, it's all over the place, and it's really cool looking at that. But at the same time, I try not to pay attention to it too much because it's really easy to get wrapped up in all those numbers, and that's not what I'm doing this for. You know, if I could change a few things, I know what to do in order to gain more viewers, but I'm doing things my way, and that's it. That's the only thing that matters to me, because I want to make sure it's quality content, and I don't put out videos every day. I take my time with them and try to make sure that if they're not informative, then they're going to be entertaining, and if they're not entertaining, then they damn well better be informative. Hopefully they're both, and that's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that, you know, I have a theme with a given video, and I'm able to convey that to you guys as far as, you know, the editing and the action that's on the screen, and also what I end up saying in the video. And I do this without a script every single time. This is all right off the top of my head. It's all on the fly, and that's for somebody with a couple speech impediments like I have, it's pretty difficult, but it does help me in formulating the words that I need to be able to communicate what I want to communicate with you guys. But either way, it's a lot of fun. But I do plan on hopefully having some giveaways for Christmas, and I'd like to do a few 6,500 gold giveaways to match the YouTube subscriber count, and also I want to try to do some stuff for the EU community members. So in that respect, I'm just going to probably seek out some help from people that are moderators in my channel that are on EU to be able to provide that for you guys, since it's not that easy to do that from the US, unfortunately. But either way, I do plan on having some other giveaways too, but feel free to swing by. And if I'm not playing World of Warships, who cares? Just ask questions about it. I'm perfectly open to it, you know, and you don't have to be afraid if it's a different game. I'm not going to be like, hey, we can only talk about this, or, you know, some shit like that. It's perfectly cool. But again, thank you all so very much. I really, really appreciate your continued support. And here's to hopefully another year of Twitch and more YouTube. But I'll see you back here next time. Take care.